These unidentified aerial phenomena have been reported for many years without explanation or deep examination by the government. President Biden has changed all that.
It is the responsibility of the Department of Defense to be honest with the American public, to come forward and present the truth.
Jeremy Corbell is a documentary filmmaker.
You know what I always say? You want to know something about something? Ask a documentary filmmaker. Those are the guys who know what they're talking about. That's the experts. Hey, what's up? It's Smooth. I've got strep. It's great. The world is ablaze with talk of UFOs, aliens touching down to Earth and visiting us, our happy little guys. But we won't let them, because we set them ablaze with our fighter jets. It's great. It's fantastic. But are they aliens really? Let's find out. This all started when there was a Chinese spy balloon found over the US. It was all the rage. Everybody was talking about it for a couple of days, it seemed like. And then our military decided to go ahead and shoot that down. A balloon? No thanks. We can't have any balloons over our country. We all know how balloons like to steal our vital data. Chinese government apparently said this is a bit of an overreaction. A pretty tame response, all things considered. According to the New York Times, senior American officials increasingly believe the Chinese spy balloon was shot down on the coast of South Carolina in early February, was originally supposed to conduct surveillance over U.S. military bases in Guam and Hawaii, but the winds carried it off course to Alaska, Canada, and finally mainland U.S. That's not really what we're here about, though. We're here for the juicy I'm looking for UFOs. Today, 7:24 p.m., according to The Hill, my favorite news organization. Biden says UFOs were most likely from private companies and institutions. A likely story. President Biden is not apologizing for his orders to take down the Chinese spy balloon. I don't care about the Chinese spy balloon. Shut up about the Chinese spy balloon. And 3 other objects spotted flying over the U.S. and Canada this month. Good. Don't apologize. Shoot them f***ers down. We don't need people and balloons and UFOs over our country. We don't need these aliens to touch down and probe our asses. No, we're going to probe our own asses. Okay? Biden signaled that he agreed with the National Security Council earlier this week, stressing that the UFOs the military shot down over the weekend were probably there for commercial or research reasons. I think the Chinese spy balloon was there for research reasons too, but not for the kind of research that you wanted them to be there for, right? We don't know yet what these objects were, Biden said, adding that the intelligence community's current assessment is that these 3 objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation, or research institutions studying weather. So, probably weather balloons. We're shooting down weather balloons now. The position hasn't done much to ease concerns from some lawmakers who have questioned why no company or institution has come forward to claim the mysterious flying objects. Biden on Thursday said the UFOs had to be taken out because they posed a threat to civilian aviation, regardless of whether they were benign or not. This is a good cover story. There were aliens in those. Obviously. I hope we're going to get to the bottom of this, but I make no apologies for taking down that balloon. Yeah. It's basically nothing. It's a big nothing burger of a statement from Biden. Thank you, Joe. Hey, if you like the video, like the video. Dislike it if you dislike it. Consider subscribing. Let me know what you think in the comments. The Atlantic says, the question is not whether aliens exist, it's firmly, hell yeah, they do. This writer says that aliens definitely exist. Hey, yeah, the Atlantic, and they were trying to touch down on our lands here in the US of A. We're not going to take that. You can take them aliens right back to Andromeda where they came from. Believers in UFOs have gotten some tantalizing clues over the past few years. Those 2019 New York Times videos of zigzagging tic-tac-like vessels with curious propulsion are always worth a rewatch. Likewise, the huge New Yorker feature by Gideon Lewis Krauss, How the Pentagon Started Taking UFOs Seriously, is pretty much required reading before you offer a qualified opinion on the issue. Let's see who Gideon Lewis Krauss is, shall we? He's a staff writer at The New Yorker, grew up in New Jersey, graduated from Stanford. He writes reportage and criticism and is the author of a digestive travel memoir, A Sense of Direction, as well as the Kindle single No Exit. Listen. No hate to the guy, okay? No hate to Gideon Lewis Krauss here. I'm sure he's great. I'm sure he's very smart, brilliant dude. I'm not gonna consider a book by a dude who has been writing his whole life, reporting, writing books, doing editing for alien advice. That's not who I go to for that. You know who I go to for that? I'm going to tell you who I go to for alien advice later in this video. Stick around. As my colleague Marina Cohen wrote yesterday, UFO sightings are indeed getting more frequent, even if the data don't necessarily scream aliens. I like this don't here. Whew. Nothing screams reputable like a misplaced don't. Nevertheless, it's not just you. The events of the past week have felt different. Our military's targeted takedown of multiple aerial objects over North America brought UFOs back to the forefront of our national conversation, enough to elicit a presidential address on the matter this afternoon. Hollywood has primed us for what to expect from our commander-in-chief ahead of an interstellar crisis. Yeah, like Independence Day. Yeah, dude. Today, Joe Biden did not unveil the grand truth about UFOs with clasped hands on the resolute desk, nor did he march down the dramatic carpeted corridor leading to the East Room for an Osama bin Laden is dead style surprise. Why would you expect that? What? Let's look at these. Let's hold off on the bit for a minute. What's this look like to you? This is the Chinese spy balloon. UFO does not stand for uninvited extraterrestrial fucking spacecraft. You know, there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity within these recent takedowns. That's what you'd expect the government to say, right? To avoid a panic, to avoid, all the shit that comes with finding out aliens exist, which they for sure do, right? But there is no shot that we've ever had contact as a species with aliens. It's never happened. February 12th, Lake Huron. This is the most recent one. 4 days ago from today. The object was around 20,000 feet, soaring near the eastern portion of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Shot down over Lake Huron, about 15 nautical miles east of the Upper Peninsula. Octagonal structure with strings hanging off, but no discernible payload. We shot it down with an AIM-9X Sidewinder missile. Oh my god. That is an expensive takedown. Holy shit. Just for reference here. I'm sick every fucking week. Unit cost, about between $200,000 and $400,000. It's not that much. It's pocket change. To take out an octagon with no discernible payload? Yeah. Worth. There's a flight safety hazard, which, I could definitely see that. One was shot down over Yukon, Canada, with another AIM-9X Sidewinder missile from an F-22. The last one was from an F-16, so at approximately 40,000 feet. One over the Alaskan coast at 40,000 feet. This was a small car-like object. It was not similar in size to the high-altitude surveillance balloon. Apparently, they're trying to recover it, see what it was. And the one over Yukon, potentially similar to the one shot down off South Carolina coast. Similar in size and cylindrical. South Carolina coast, with yet another AIM-9X Sidewinder. Large intruder was part of a fleet of balloons. The balloon was estimated to be up to 200 feet tall of the payload. Van Herrick said, I would categorize that as a jet airliner type of size, maybe a regional jet, with a weight of more than 2,000 pounds. So, none of these really scream to me alien craft. Listen, if they're balloons, space doesn't have an atmosphere. So that balloon is going to do f*** all, okay? But feasibly, if it had a propulsion system, some way to propel itself, then yeah, it could go around in space, maybe. But entry to the atmosphere would be next to impossible for something like that. It would have to be able to withstand incredible heat and speed, And honestly, I feel like if there was a civilization advanced enough to reach us from another galaxy or something, then we wouldn't detect them, and we sure as hell wouldn't be able to shoot them down with our F-22 Raptors. Why would they be flying that low? Listen, 20 and 40,000 feet sounds high. So cruising altitude of a 747 is 35,105 feet. The Chinese air balloon that was at 40,000 feet, not much higher, okay? I think a 747 can cruise at 40,000 feet if the pilot so wants to. It doesn't make any sense, Why would an alien so advanced that they can come to our planet decide to cruise at the same altitude as a Boeing 747 or lower? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. We wouldn't even be able to detect these guys. And if we shot them down, you better bet we'd be gone by now. We'd be dead. Be dead and gone, baby. So let me talk to you about the guy who I trust for all of my UFO related needs, Bob Lazar. What does Bob Lazar think about all this shit? He's still alive. He's on Instagram. Oh, there he is, my man. Oh, Bob Lazar, you beautiful, beautiful man. I'm not signing into Instagram. I'm not doing that. UnitedNuclear.com. What you got for us? It's been a while since I've looked into Bob Lazar, honestly. Oh, he's trying to sell uranium ore. I would not buy this. Oh, it's all sold out. These aren't sold out, though. I would not buy uranium ore. What in the fuck? Why would you want this? I've got enough of an immune system problem as it is. I don't need radiation in my house. God damn. Bob, what are you doing? We don't need to be here. Fuck, I'm gonna be put on a watch list going there. Not less of a watch list that I'm already on. Looking at Bob Lazar, though. Ooh, BobLazar.com. Oh, a true story from Bob Lazar. Oh. This looks like a website from 1998. Oh, well, that makes sense. The now infamous Area 51, and specifically the Groom and Papoose dry lake beds, were relatively unknown to the mainstream public from the mid-1970s to 1989. Scientific circles knew the area as Dreamland, the Skunk Works, or simply Groom Lake. One night in May 1989, the local CBS affiliate broadcast a story from a satellite link in Las Vegas, Nevada. A young physicist spoke under hidden identity, told them of 9 alien discs held in Nevada by a small autonomous group of the American government. He spoke under the pseudonym Dennis, which turned out to be the name of his superior at the base. A few weeks later, he went on camera using his real name, Bob Lazar. Basically, this guy, he's the whistleblower who blew the lid off of the whole Area 51 being an alien base thing. Okay. Having alien species there, performing tests on them. He claims to have reverse engineered an alien craft or some shit. Yeah, to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology. Here's the thing. There's a lot of reasons to doubt Bob Lazar, okay? This guy's made a whole career. This guy's made a name for himself. We know his name because of the Area 51 and aliens thing. He claims to have a master's degree in physics from MIT and a master's degree in electronics from Caltech. But both universities don't have a record of him ever attending there, apparently.
Checking out Lazar's credentials proved to be a difficult task. He says he earned degrees in physics and electronics, but the schools we contacted say they've never heard of him.
2 actual scientists, Stanton Friedman, another UFO nut, flying saucer physicist, an actual nuclear physicist, and Donald Prothero, both claim somebody with Bob Lazar's high school record would never have been let in to MIT or Caltech, much less both. And with both of those schools apparently having no record of him attending, I am inclined to believe those guys. Bob Lazar can't tell you the names of any of the lecturers that he had. He can't tell you the names of any of the students that he attended MIT and Caltech with. One of the professors that he named actually worked at Pierce College, not Caltech. It also doesn't help Bob's credibility that the Smithsonian says that his physicist title is self-proclaimed, which means, yeah, he says he's a physicist. Now, Bob Lazar's career is kind of interesting because everything that he says, he claims to have worked as a physicist for Los Alamos, when apparently they have no record of him.
He also said he worked as a physicist at Los Alamos National Lab, where he experimented with one of the world's largest particle beam accelerators, a half-mile-long behemoth capable of generating 700 million volts. Los Alamos officials told us they had no records of a Robert Lazar ever working there.
But that didn't keep news organizations and mainstream outlets from calling him a physicist and giving some air of authority to his name when he started spouting his UFOs in Area 51 garbage.
They were either mistaken or were lying. A 1982 phone book from the lab lists Lazar right there among the other scientists and technicians.
Now, you may not know it from looking at him, but this guy is straight pimping, allegedly. He was arrested in 1990 for aiding and abetting a prostitution ring, but those charges were reduced to felony pandering. He pled guilty and just got off with community service. Later, in 2006, he was charged for violating the Federal Hazardous Substances Act for shipping restricted chemicals across state lines. United Nuclear, his company that we just looked at the website for, pled guilty to 3 charges for introducing banned hazardous substances into interstate commerce. And then in 2007, United Nuclear was fined for $7,500, violating a law prohibiting the sale of chemicals and components used to make illegal fireworks. So why are we talking about Bob Lazar so much? Well, Bob Lazar is the guy who started the whole UFOs in Area 51 thing. Bob Lazar is our leading expert in UFO phenomena. He is the man who I trust with my heart, with my life, an accurate depiction of what exactly these UFOs are. Where are these aliens coming from? Why are they here? He's the man who knows. And you know that he is because he worked on Area 51. He's credible because he says he is. You don't have to watch every season of Ancient Aliens to know that Bob Lazar is a man who knows what the he's talking about.
Bob said he worked for Area S4 and he was hired to back engineer what they believe were alien crafts. He had this top secret clearance. They're monitoring his phone calls. Turns out Bob's wife is having an affair. Bob doesn't know about this. They remove him from the project because they believe he'll be emotionally unstable. He's freaking out, not knowing why he's pulled from this project. Starts telling people about what he's doing. So he starts bringing people to this area. They see these objects flying in these spectacular ways that we really can't do with any of our conventional aircrafts. And then Bob gets in trouble for that. Then Bob goes on the George Knapp show and starts explaining all these different things, presumably for self-preservation.
Joe Rogan is extremely charitable here because clearly Bob Lazar doesn't get anything else out of what he's talking about. Movies and TV shows. Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. Bob Lazar, Cosmic Whistleblower. Area 51 Alien Interview. Extraordinary Beliefs. The Lazar Tape. UFOs. Area 51. Secrets of the Black World. Old School. I don't know what Old School is. What's Old School? What does this have to do with Bob Lazar? I guess it's a film I should know about. It kind of looks like it sucks. What's this about? I don't know why this is listed for Bob Lazar's movies and books, but the rest of these make sense though. My point is, the man's made a career out of telling stories, true or otherwise, about alien spacecraft. Now the thing is, they say that it's self-preservation.
Presumably for self-preservation.
That this is the only way that he could ensure that he'd continue to survive, perhaps. I argue with the exact opposite. I feel like if you're telling state secrets at that level, there's definitely some kind of legal action that would be absolutely taken against you. The argument seems to be, well, no, if they did that, then it would be confirmation that what he's saying is correct. Not necessarily. I feel like if he was involved with anything that happened at any Area 51 at all, and you go around telling mainstream media outlets about it, you go around selling books, talking on the Joe Rogan Experience about it, like, come on, dude, come on. You would not be alive, much less selling uranium. Okay? Much less selling hazardous materials over state borders to make illegal fireworks or aiding and abetting a prostitution ring. I don't think you'd be doing either of those things. I think you would be locked up or in a grave, an unmarked grave, maybe. Just saying. Chew on that for a minute. Chew on it.
2, 1, boom. And we're live. First of all, cheers, gentlemen. Let's have a little toast. Relax. Bob, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I understand that you've told this story many, many times. You've been grilled many, many times, and it's very stressful for you, so I really, really appreciate your time. For people who don't know the story, there is a documentary. Jeremy Corbell has a documentary out right now. It's called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and UFOs.
And Flying Saucers.
And Flying Saucers.
Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't say the name of this documentary without saying Flying Saucers. Come on, dude.
First heard your story decades ago. You used to work at Area 51. And Area 51, you went like, huh?
Well, we want to be accurate.
Okay.
Area S4.
S4. Okay.
It's about 15 miles south of Area 51.
Okay.
But
you worked in how would you describe it?
I guess within the Area 51 compound. You can call that a subset of Area 51.
Is it south of Area 51 or is it part of Area 51, Bob? We want to be accurate. Which is it, buddy boy? You've been telling this story for how long? And you don't remember where it is?
Before that, you were working...
Before that, I had worked at Los Alamos
Right.
National Labs in New Mexico.
The labs that said they have no record of you?
And you were involved in what kind of work?
Nuclear weapon development, physics. I mean, they do everything there.
So how do they approach you to say, hey, Bob, why don't you come on out to the Nevada desert?
Well, the way this went down was, at that time, it was 1982, I had put a jet engine in my Honda, and Los Alamos put it on the front page of the paper. It said, Los Alamos man, physicist at the lab, built this 200-mile-an-hour, Honda jet car that I drove to work every day. So
Okay, right. Let's see if we can find that paper. I'm sure it exists. You wouldn't lie about something that egregious, right? This is supposed to be the story. It is on otherhand.org, which appears to be dedicated to UFO stuff. So, in my opinion, not the best archive, but I have no real reason to doubt it. Let's continue to look around. This is an ad, 1983, demonstrating his jet-powered Honda Civic. Where's Los Alamos? This is in Albuquerque. This is an ad, though. It's not a newspaper front page story. That definitely looks like Bob Lazar. This is impressive, but it's not real. It looks cool, though. Alvaro Martin. Good work. Now, here's the question, too. If he was giving these interviews to protect his hide, why would he use the name Dennis? I feel like that would be counterproductive because they don't know it was you talking. That doesn't make any sense. You're still just as expendable, right?
So I was known in Los Alamos, the guy with the weird car, and you could hear it from
that
a
seems
mile
probably
away.
true.
The day that came out on the front page of the paper was the day Edward Teller, the father of the hydrogen bomb, was giving a lecture down there at the lab. And we didn't have much going on that day in our group, and I asked if I could go down there. I went down there early, and Ed Teller was outside, leaning on a brick wall there and reading the front page of the paper. Now, this is a guy out of history.
It's convenient. That's real convenient, Bob. I bet you're glad that he was reading the exact page that you were on.
So I introduced myself. Hey, I'm the guy you're reading about there. And we talked for a little while, and it was cool. Fast forward to years later, I had moved out to Las Vegas and had, left Los Alamos and, went on to other things. And I wanted to get back into the scientific community. I left to start other businesses and that sort of thing. So I sent resumes out, and one of them went out to Ed Teller and referenced our meeting, back in the day. And anyway, he remembered me.
I'm sure he did.
Gave me a reference, somebody to contact at EG&G. And that's pretty much how it started.
I never got a chance to ask Dr. Teller if he remembered me from Los Alamos, so I don't know if that was a factor or not.
Anyway, he remembered me.
I never got a chance.
I prefer the way Internet Historian stitched this together.
A machine that was able to read the size of your dicks.
Yeah.
Huge.
Here's the thing. Here's the way I see it. I would love nothing more than if Bob Lazar was 100% legit, besides the crimes. For me, it's a little far-fetched, especially knowing how ruthless our military can be with its secrets and whatnot. I feel like at the very least you wouldn't have a career as a UFO whistleblower if it were true. But maybe it is, I don't think so. I think that if we had any kind of contact with aliens at any point, we would not be here. Aliens are probably out there. There's a reason why Stephen Hawking said, probably don't be sending fucking signals out into the space. And honestly, this is the one that I agree with, the Fermi paradox. Fermi paradox is that there is such a high statistical probability that there would be life out there, almost certainly, and the fact that we have no evidence of it. My favorite hypothesis for why we don't have evidence of it is that it's in the nature of intelligent life to destroy other intelligent life, much like humans do. Humans are very self-destructive in nature. We disagree, we form little countries, and we just kill the shit out of each other over dumb stuff. If an alien civilization theoretically got past that and went traveling from planet to planet, if they found other intelligent life, it would probably be in their best interest to just wipe it out. That's us. We're the wiped out. Thanks a lot. Later.